It's taking so long to look.
If I start telling people about hell, I might just scare them off. Where are you going to scare them off to? Hell number 2? Or are you just going to sit there and let them burn?
This is Chris from Don't Let Them Burn. Welcome to the program. No, this is not audio only. I'm just showing you a screen right now. This is Spirit Behind the Music, episode 1. And before we get into it, don't forget you can reach us at dontletthemburn.com. You can also reach us on my alternate YouTube channel, which is Hurricane 7. Check out the music video. I hardly promote this song. It's been out for 4 months, as you can see right here. You can also check out our Teespring, where you can get a shirt. Shirts are coming out pretty nice. I think some people might even give some testimonies regarding the shirt and whatnot, so we'll see those soon. Here goes the Parler. Check us out on Parler. Give us a follow. Give us a share. And tonight, we have my friend, William Ramsey. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back, Chris.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you.
Thanks.
So tonight, we're going to get into some material found again in this book. Children of the Beast. Children of the Beast. And the Beast, as he called himself, Aleister Crowley. He is not the devil himself, but man, he sure thinks he is. All right. So
he said he wanted to be his chief of staff.
Or chief of staff. Do these people actually know what they're doing? I mean, it's obvious that the devil is dark and evil, and just everything that you don't want to mix up in. Everything Crowley did was disgusting. The things he did with children, women, men, all this darkness, and yet you want to be the right-hand man to Lucifer. Crazy.
Pretty crazy. He had a crazy life and left a path of destruction through his whole existence.
Yeah.
To the present, really.
Yeah. So before we start, for people that don't know you, tell them about yourself, what you do, and the products that you have.
Well, I was formerly an attorney. I still am a member of the State Bar of California. I was definitely a parapolitical researcher after being in D.C. for 3 years, from 95 to 98. And really kind of gave up on mass media, corporate media. So, and also I questioned my own education. So I kind of went through the standard educational process and kind of left a little bitterness and disillusionment. So I was definitely interested in reading other things, and, was interested in 9/11, and 9/11, the numerology of 9/11 kind of led me back to Crowley's numerology. Why is the 11 so much? There was a guy by the name of, I can't remember his name right now, but he was kind of keyed into this numerology. I didn't really know much about magic. And then I kind of wrote books about it. So my first book was Aleister Crowley, Prophet of Evil, Aleister Crowley, 9/11, and the New World Order. So I wrote about Crowley. Really, it's really a bio of Crowley. And I tried to focus on other people's opinions of Crowley, not just his writing, but what people who knew Crowley at that time.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a book about the West Memphis Three, which is a very dark tale that involved Crowley as well. And then this book, which was really my attempt to kind of see what his cultural influence on, and music in particular as well, or on the 20th century. So it was an exhausting research task. I think I have close to 800 footnotes, but you can see what I read. And Crowley really is there with all these other cultural figures. So I still was definitely interested in that. And I made some documentaries. So I have this book, but I also have a documentary on my Vimeo channel, Children of the Beast, as well. It's about 2 hours and 45 minutes. It includes a lot of pictures and things like that, so people can kind of see the research that's in that book as well. But I have 5 videos on Vimeo, and that's really it. So I'm still curious about Crowley's influence. Probably the most influential written occultist of all time. We know from the Bible, they talk about the Witch of Endor, or Janus and Jambres, who contended with Moses, the priests of Egypt. And Paul wrote about them. And they're actually not mentioned, I think, in the Old Testament, if my memory serves me correct. But also Simon Magus, who talked to Peter and wanted that power that Peter had, coveted that. Peter did not give that to him. So we know from the Bible there's definitely these occultists, but then into the modern age, I think we can see this. Crowley was kind of resurrecting, or kind of even going all the way back to Sumeria, kind of some of those ideas.
Yeah. All right. So this is again, it is Spirit Behind the Music, and I totally forgot to do something, guys. So I'm going to do it really quick right now. For those of you that are not used to this channel, you've just gotten here, you just like, subscribe, and share. We're going to get into some meat, but I have to show you the other segments that we have. And obviously, this one is Spirit Behind the Music, talking about music. We have Paranormal Shift. We get into paranormal and what the Bible has to say about it. We get into Reign of the Tech, where it's all about technology. Hollywood Matrix, obviously, all about Hollywood and the crazy stuff that they do in our films. Apocalypse News and Updates. Codex Explained, which explains some of the Bible. Game Invaders. Video games. If you want to know about video games and the stuff in it, that's the one to check out. Deception, The Road to Disclosure. This is connected to my documentary, and you'll learn more as we go on. Superheroes and Gods. Amazing Machinations. Political Edge. The Symbolic Realm. And here we are, full 360. So, all right, let's get into the meat of this conversation here. If I can get back to my screen. There we go. All right, so Aleister Crowley and his influence. In some of the screenshots here, I have people like the Beatles, I have the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, Lady Gaga, Jay-Z, and a few others. So who do you want to touch first?
Well, I think probably one of the most influential bands of all time is the Beatles. And I think that their connection to Crowley and people who had admired Crowley, specifically Timothy Leary, I think that's an important place to start.
All right, let's start the Beatles. And they had a Sgt. Pepper album had Aleister Crowley on the front.
Correct. So that was it. And there's an argument that even Sgt. Pepper himself is a reference to Aleister Crowley. So Crowley's in there, but Sgt. Pepper, if you kind of play the word, Sergeant is like an official title. Pepper is black, and Crowley was a black magician. So it says the intro to the song is, it's 20 years ago today, right? From 1967. That's when Crowley died. Crowley was born in 1875, died in 1947. So, and you can kind of see that the Beatles were huge change agents, cultural agents, something that I think they were kind of became, not initially before Paul McCartney, or after what I think Paul McCartney was switched out. So most people don't agree with that. But after he got switched out of the band, they changed a lot of their kind of ideas towards open drug use, mysticism, Eastern mysticism, things like that weren't as kind of milquetoast as the early Beatles. So
that their Eastern influence came through people like the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi,
right,
who helped to bring the idea of yoga to our populace here, and others. But that's one of the main leaders there. And here, as you see over here, people, this little figure right here, that's Aleister Crowley, right there. So they put all their influential minds on the cover, and you can't deny it.
But I think that they were similar to Crowley also in that they were trying to create an alternate culture in opposition to Christianity. And I think they did it. So Lennon was talking about it all the time. John Lennon,
right?
He's probably the most vocal of them, saying, we're bigger than Jesus. Christianity is going to go away. He made all of these, and those were very controversial statements. Today, they wouldn't even be noted, but back then, that made everybody gasp. It was recorded everywhere. He kind of had to back away from his original statement, but it was a blasphemous statement, in my opinion, and I think that was really kind of their point. So I think they were carrying on that kind of idea of Crowley creating a magical world or a magical worldview. I think that they're right in step with Crowley, actually, in my opinion.
They had a album cover. I don't know what the album's called, but I'll try to see here. Babies.
Right. That was very controversial. They've also made statements that's very much it. But they had pictures of themselves making the same magical signs that Crowley makes. I think
Yeah.
if you can look up the Beatles' magical stances or magical postures, that would probably come up on the visual. They were also seen with Jimmy Savile, who is just a monster, like a real wit, like a literal seventh son of a seventh son. He's the seventh son of his Catholic family and very much into witch. He was buried at witch, actually. 45 degrees facing east. Sorry?
No, I was going to say that I know a lot of this stuff usually goes back to some sort of Catholic family or something. It was weird.
Okay. Well, I can share this screen. Let me see if I can do this. If you can share my screen, I can show kind of them with Savile. So you'll see them making these magical stances. That's out of Crowley's. It's either his encyclopedia, the Equinox, I think is what it's from. So you can see them making these exact magical stances. This is Crowley with the this is Savile with the Beatles, and Savile did unspeakable things. This is the Beatles kind of in a swastika stance, making the cornuto sign, satanic sign. There's the babies.
Yeah.
There's fall. I believe that McCartney was switched out. And there's the new, and actually the symbolism of a birdcage is actually not well known. It's used in the occult actually to kind of symbolize something that's captured, that sings for you.
Now, when you say McCartney got switched out, what do you mean?
Cornuto, it's like this hand sign.
No, about McCartney.
Oh, well, so I think what happened, I believe that Paul McCartney died he was either killed or died in an auto crash, and they put some new guy in who was a talented musician. But this person right here with the mustache is the replacement to the original Paul McCartney.
Interesting.
And it changed the whole dynamic of the band changed upon that replacement too. So it made a real change. And there's amazing videos of this guy walking around with a golden apple, and it's a really heavy duty. Well, I mean, it comes from Greek mythology. Calliste was the god of chaos or goddess of chaos in the old Greek mythology, and she had a golden apple, and she would chuck that chaos golden apple, and it would cause all kinds of frictions in society and stuff like that. And there's pictures of this guy carrying the golden apple. I don't know if that would pop up on the internet, but I do. He was changed out. He was either murdered or died in a car crash. And it used to be considered kind of like an urban myth, but there's actually was a very serious study by an Italian forensic team that compared the old Paul to the new Paul, and there were certain elements of this new person that did not conform to the old Paul. People can rearrange your face, like really sophisticated plastic surgery can rearrange your face. They cannot change the width of the skull of your teeth. So the upper teeth, they can't do it. They can move them around or have braces, but when they measured the proportion of the old Paul to this guy, it wasn't the same person. And some of the early scenes of, clearly, it's not believable, but I truly believe that he was switched out.
I mean, if there's evidence, then there's evidence.
Well, I wonder if I could find that online, that Italian fake Paul.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, there's a really good researcher. I've had her on my show. And she's written a book about it. But there's also really sketchy pictures of Paul in like Time magazine. It doesn't even look like the original Paul. So,
wow.
Yeah, no. And then it gets really deep because when the old Paul was replaced, the whole tenor and the whole band changed. So it went from telling like love stories and things like that to, Crowley, like dark Eastern ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let me see.
And so,
but that's kind of a sidetrack. Let me see if I can find this. And there's actually a really good documentary about the Beatles online, and it's called Rotten Apple, I think. And it goes in and it shows, I think it's in that documentary where Paul McCartney is holding up this apple.
Okay. I'm trying to find some pictures online, but I don't find any. But I know they had a. Looks like they had a an album called Rotten Apple, or
Yeah, and I think that was actually
or Golden Apple. Sorry.
Right, and I think that was actually the name of their company that they used to promote their stuff. Was it's called Apple or something like that. So there's some symbolism there.
Yeah, and they also had the Golden Apple Award that they won. Interesting.
No, it's not believable, but when you kind of look through, it becomes it's really incredible. Let me see.
Wow.
I can't seem to find this video. Tina Foster's her name. So if you look up Tina Foster, she's done most of the research on the fake Paul. Okay. They call it Plastic Macca. His nickname in England is, instead of McCartney, it's Macca. And you can kind of find her interviews, and including my interview with her.
All right, I'll check that out for sure.
Yeah. But she has a book. Let me see if I can find this book. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Tina Foster. All right, got it. I wrote it down. So moving along, you have within that group, we have Lennon, who wrote Imagine, which is pretty much a communist atheist manifesto.
Yes.
Right. So most people don't know that.
It's super. It's an extremely sinister song, actually. It's very sinister, and a lot of people dreamily listen to that. I always get creeped out when I hear Imagine.
Yeah, nowadays. When I was a child, it wasn't that creepy for me, but as I grew up, I started hearing the atheist tones, but I didn't understand the rest of it until recently, with all this communist stuff coming up. It's been exposed.
Right. Religion is an opiate. It's the distractor. And even the Fool on the Hill is supposed to be Christ. So if you listen to the song Fool on the Hill, the Fool on the Hill is Christ giving the Beatitudes, right?
Wow.
So yeah, super anti-Christian stuff. They were not. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
And here's the interesting, just one more thing. This is from this thing where Paul says his music, or Fall, I think it's basically magic. There is such a thing as magic, and the Beatles was magic. It's something that has to be thought of as magic with a K, and that K is the 11th letter of the alphabet. So you have to kind of have some kind of knowledge of the occult to just even key into that, right? So somebody has to teach you, or you have to do some reading to understand the primacy of 11. And so when you kind of look through the Beatles, it's bad. You can read about it in my book. And their ideas of LSD, God is everything, God is in the space between us, God is in that table. So their idea of God was almost animistic, or that's what they were promoting, instead of this kind of God that lives in the heavens and is benevolent.
Yeah. So it's alarming to the untrained mind, but for us, this is just a casual conversation, right here. I've learned so much over the last 20 years. It's crazy. If we didn't have the internet too, and some of these people that put out documentaries, some of this we wouldn't even know it. So I think God is allowing us to really get information faster, so we can see the evils. Yeah,
no doubt. And also we learn it's kind of iron sharpens iron. So you learn from these shows. The hosts have different input. So even time when I'm a guest, I'm still learning from the hosts, things like that.
Yeah.
So knowledge is definitely increasing, no question, as the Bible would say.
Absolutely. So outside of the Beatles now, where you want to go, or you got more to say about them?
Well, I think one of the interesting things before it gets really deep, because I think that Lennon was killed by a mind-controlled assassin. So that's probably going to put me even farther off into, questionable territory. But
I mean, if people study the CIA and how many artists that were actually taken out by them, it's no surprise. But for people that don't know, it'll seem a little weird.
Not believable, right? So, but the guy, he was reading Catcher in the Rye, which is a known kind of manual that they use on some of these guys who are susceptible to hypnotism. I can't remember the name of his assassin, but before that, like a few days before, Lennon had an interview on Playboy with his witch wife. Like Yoko Ono was a literal witch, and they were doing all kinds of strange witch stuff involving cow tongues. And she tried to time the birth of her son, who's a very wealthy guy who makes these weird movies that are inspired by Kenneth Anger, make weird videos with the arrival of the aliens. Like, you should look it out. It would fit right into all your research. I'll have to send that.
Oh, yeah, because I'm about to pull up a video game.
Okay. I think his name is Sean Lennon, Sean Lennon. And if you look up that video, it's like right out of Lucifer Rising. It's the arrival of the aliens at the end. And that's made fairly recently. But going back to before Lennon died, I was just trying to get this one thing in. He said, the whole Beatle idea was to do what you want, right? Take your own responsibility, do what you want, try not to harm other people, right? Do what thou willst, as long as it doesn't hurt somebody. So he kind of had the Crowleyan witch kind of, the Wiccan idea of do what thou wilt.
Yeah. And what's his name again?
Sean Lennon, Sean Lennon.
Okay. S-E-A-N.
Let me see if I can find that.
Okay. All right. I think I got it. Because I'm going to link this to a video game.
Okay. I actually did a video on my YouTube channel. I wonder if it'll pop up about the arrival.
Is he here?
Yeah, so that's Sean Lennon. I think he was the only son of Yoko Ono and Lennon. So he's he doesn't have to work. I think his net worth is like $250 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he makes these very idiosyncratic videos. Here it is. Let me see if I can play this. I'll post the link to it. This is interesting. Let's see if I can. Can you see that in the chat?
Yeah.
I think I posted it. Let me see if I can pop this up.
Is it music?
It's kind of just comparing the comparing the video to Kenneth Anger. Do you think you can show my screen?
Oh, okay. This is coming up here. Let me add the stream. There you go.
So this was something I did 4 years ago. The occult arrival, UFOs, and ritual magic at the end of the age. And so let me see if I can turn the sound off. But you can see Lucifer Rising here with the alien arrival. So this is like very young, early Satanism by Kenneth Anger. And the guy who was in this, if I can show you this is kind of interesting. His name is Donald Campbell, and he did a movie called Performance with the Rolling Stones. Literally, when he was a kid, he sat on Aleister Crowley's knee. And so his dad was a friend of Crowley from Scotland. So this is John Lennon talking about aliens. So if you listen to this on my thing, I don't want to play the audio, but he's literally talking about his alien sighting in New York City. So I included that in this, but then his son is basically the same motif of Kenneth Anger is included at the end of his videos. Let me see if I can find this. So let's see.
Oh, there goes the lamb.
Yeah, and do you remember last time we were talking about this public ritual of the Rite of Bartzabel? This is a sequence from that.
Okay.
So let me go back to Sean Lennon. So you see these aliens right here?
Right.
So watch. So like he's like a magician, and he's summoning these aliens just like it was out of Kenneth Anger.
Yeah.
Right. So he's white, and this is like his paramour, and there's this Eye of Horus hat. Right. I mean, it's too much. The occult imagery is off the charts.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you something really quick, and I'm going to type it in. Maybe it doesn't sound familiar. All right. Give me a second. Add the stream. This video game.
I know Destiny. Yeah.
Guess who did the soundtrack?
I don't know.
Paul McCartney.
Really?
And it's about this sphere that comes to planet Earth. There's some destruction and whatnot. And this sphere, I think it's supposed to be the one protecting the planet, but you have all these systems and these magi's and warriors and whatnot. And you have some named after gods and whatnot, but it's all about this there's also this big celestial threat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you know, the same motif as all these alien movies, but you get to fight as these warriors. A lot of them are using magic. You see this over here?
Interesting, yeah.
Power, all that stuff. Yeah,
Right.
it's not a boring game. It's the people that made Halo that made this game, and Halo, you know, has its own things too. But yeah, what you're describing here in that video by Lennon or Sean Lennon, it's the same thing here. Okay, you just have to get into the lore of Destiny to really find out what I'm talking about. But just wanted to point that out for people that are either playing this game or you know, interested in playing the game. They even have Osiris.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff in this thing, man. This is Destiny 1, and they have Destiny 2. Like in the packs and whatnot, it's always some occult theme.
Interesting.
Pagan god or whatnot. And you know, I don't want to belabor the point on the game because we have our own gaming section, but
right. But it's so important because I think the gaming thing, it dwarfs movies by like 10 times or something. Like the amount of revenue is huge. So people are spending way more time on some of these video games than watching a 2-hour movie. Yeah,
some of these games go 60, 80 hours. Right. You used to play a game, you take maybe 10 hours to beat it, but now you're immersed in the worlds now. And all over the place, there's occult themes. Look at this. I didn't notice it before. I'm just noticing it now. How this dress is somewhat formed like a pentagram.
Right.
See that? I don't know if I'm stretching that, but that's what it looks like to me.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So Destiny is a very popular game right now. Very popular. And it's also made by Activision, who makes Call of Duty, which is another very popular game. So, yeah. What's next?
Okay. Do you want to move now off the Beatles? We can go on to... You want to see the picture of the Doors holding a bust of Aleister Crowley? We can do that. That's kind of or we can talk about Zeppelin.
Yeah, sure.
But let me see if I can share my screen.
Are you going to show that or me?
You can do it. You can just look up Jim Morrison bust of Aleister Crowley. But you can see that, like, he saw, like, Jim Morrison saw Satan in Venice. Like, there's all kinds of creepy stuff. Morrison was a blood drinker. They don't really talk about that. So that picture right there, second row, far left, that's it. Yeah, so that's a bust of Aleister Crowley. And he kind of has like a triangle hand gesture. Like these guys like to do their own gestures and stuff. Like Crowley himself did all these gestures too. So, I think that Morrison and their music is kind of pretty dark. And a lot of dark lyrics, things like that. Peace Frog talks about blood drinking, blood rituals, believe it or not. That's their song, Peace Frog. So I included kind of those things. But, you know, they thought that thought that they were gods. They were kind of had Eastern religion. They're influenced by occultism in part.
And even the name The Doors, I mean, the doors are spiritual realms.
Right. It comes straight out of Aldous Huxley, right? Doors of Perception. That's the direct lift from that thing. So Doors of Perception is based upon psychedelics. And then why are people using heavy-duty psychedelics? So that current or intellectual genealogy is right there of the 20th century, from Crowley to Huxley to Jim Morrison.
Yeah. What's his name? Stan Lee, that created Marvel. He was mentioned in the Doors of Perception.
Oh, really?
I think they took some sort of trip together, those two guys, and Stanley got some of his ideas from that trip. I could bring it up now, but then I have to go look for my PDF and.
Okay.
But I want to show people the artwork.
Okay. But yeah, that's just another. I mean, Crowley is all over the 20th century of all these people who are reading him. Leary, Doors. I mean, you could do a whole show on Zeppelin, Jimmy Page.
Yeah. All right. So that's the Doors. I saw an interesting figure that we hardly get to talk about when I'm with you. Let me see here. His name, and he just died, I think last year or the year before. Just died.
David Bowie, yes. Yes, dressed in Crowley's uniform of imagery, looking the exact same way Crowley was. Argued to be a great ceremonial magician. Some people have said that guy really was the ceremonial magician, and that was his religion. And he went. Bowie went through. I mean, his last, it was called Black Star, was his last video. I did an analysis of that, and he has that smiley face right on the lapel, just like all these other occult characters. He had it right in the same spot as Moore put it on the comedian. And yeah, I mean, he definitely went through a Crowley phase. I don't know how much stuff, but he seemed to really deeply reference a Crowley ritual that I can't remember now in Black Star. So that was kind of like his sending off point for his life as he was getting sicker and sicker. But I mean, you can just go through. I mean, I think it was. He said, my whole interest was in Cabala and Crowleyism, the whole dark and rather fearsome never world of the wrong side of the brain. Yeah. So he talks about that, and you know, I think that he's saying, I'm closer to the Golden Dawn, which was Crowley's magical fraternity before he started his own. Closer to the Golden Dawn, immersed in Crowley's uniform of energy.
Yeah. Why do all of these, or not all, but a lot of them go back to aliens? I mean, I know the answer, but I'm just, you know.
Well, it's a great point because people think that this is kind of novel, but I think that Bowie had like 3 or 4 songs about aliens. Like one was literally called Loving the Alien or something like that. He also did another one that was referenced Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End, which was very influential. I can't remember that song offhand, but it was called Oh You Pretty Thing. Have you ever seen Oh You Pretty Thing or listened to the lyrics of Oh You Pretty Thing?
No, I haven't.
They're very interesting, but they reference Arthur C. Clarke. That was the inspiration. And then you have Starman. So you've got all these. He was definitely, and I think that he himself saw himself as kind of Major Tom, this person who floats out into the universe. So I think that person was kind of a figurative representation of him, which is why that Major Tom figure in the beginning of Black Star had that smiley face. So it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the lyrics to "Oh You Pretty Things."
How serious these guys take this stuff, though, with their astral projection and whatnot, and then them talking to these demonic beings, influencing them to make songs or whatnot. It just gets pretty peculiar. Let me see here.
So if I can share you the lyrics to "Oh You Pretty Things," he says, "Let me make it plain. Gotta make way for the Homo Superior," which is a direct reference to Arthur C. Clarke.
Transhumanism and whatnot.
Yeah, look at your children. See their faces in golden rays. Don't kid yourself. They belong to you. They're the start of the coming race. The Earth is a BITCH. We finished our news. Homo sapiens have outgrown their use. All the strangers came today, and it looks as though they're here to stay. So the aliens arrive.
Yeah, always about the aliens or human 2.0.
Right.
Yeah,
that was a kind of a thing about Nietzsche and the Nazis too. Was like the Overman, the Uberman, which is it's almost like the invitation to like the original temptation, like ye shall be as gods. So it's like that these guys are reflecting that or integrating that in their music and ideas.
Yeah, and I don't want to go to this person yet, but as you see, Lady Gaga is imitating David Bowie's lightning, right? And the lightning represents Lucifer, guys. They know they pretty much imitating what Jesus said. They saw Lucifer fall from the sky like lightning, or fall to the earth like lightning. And so they put the lightning bolt in their artwork or on their face, tattoos or whatnot. That's also goes back to the SS of the Hitler regime.
Right.
So has a bunch of spiritual connotations. So we're not going to get into all that now. All of these artists actually deserve their own show, but it'll take a few years to do that.
And so David Bowie is like a show in himself. There's so much. And I think he was a very well-read guy. So he kind of was able to integrate all those ideas into him. But do you ever hear the story where he tried to exorcise his pool? There was a demon at the bottom of his pool in Los Angeles, and he brought in a witch to exorcise the pool.
Oh no, I didn't hear that story.
Oh yeah, so it's just a crazy story. Like he said, he was demon possessed. He actually left L.A. after that. But his wife said, his wife said, the pool was definitely, absolutely, no doubt about it, bubbling with an energy for which there was no possible explanation.
Yeah.
This is after. So these guys, I think that these guys would not do magic if they didn't have some kind of either perceived or real dark spiritual events, because these guys repeat them, like Jim Morrison saw Satan in Venice. So I think that it's not a joke.
Yeah, absolutely. Whose house was it that burnt down in California, and they rebuilt it and then burnt down again? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember that. What sounds familiar? I don't remember.
Hey, Brett Ward, I know that you gotta know this. Can you tell us whose house that is? I can't remember. Brett Ward, he's in a Facebook chat. I can't remember at all, man. It's somebody's house. It was a Occult house. Oh my goodness.
It sounds super familiar.
Yeah. So as somebody can answer that, please answer that and we'll talk about it. Who is next? Who's on our
Well,
list?
we can do, there's a lot we can do. Hall & Oates, you can do Jimmy Page.
Let's go Rolling Stones.
Okay, let's do the Rolling Stones.
And wait, let me give you an order. Rolling Stones, then Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, well, you'll have to teach me about Hendrix because I don't know a lot of his occult stuff.
Oh, I have some quotes on my laptop. I gotta find it. Let's go.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I know the Rolling Stones, right? So they had His Satanic Majesty's Request was one of their albums, directly thing. Like I told you before, they were in the show. Mick Jagger was in the movie Performance that was directed by Donald Cammell, who was literally sitting on Crowley's knee. And there's actually kind of a semi-famous picture of Donald Cammell with Kenneth Anger, Alejandro Jodorowsky, and Dennis Hopper. So you see this like cultural cross-fertilization, dark cultural cross-fertilization. Yeah. But the Stones are mixed up with all kinds of crazy stuff. I think that Keith Richards' girlfriend was a witch too and did all kinds of witchcraft stuff. Her name, I can't remember right now.
Interesting. There's
Pallenberg, I think. Anita Pallenberg was her name.
Pallenberg?
It's Pallenberg. Anita Pallenberg.
Pallenberg.
She was in the movie Performance, which was considered to be one of the top 100 British films of all time. It's very strange, but they reference the assassins. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what I'm noticing as well, not everybody, but a lot of these artists that have a handler, it's either the husband or the wife, or both of them connect as witches. It's a pattern.
No, it is. No, for real. Yeah. Because the same thing with Lennon and Ono was a witch, Anita Pallenberg and Richards. So a lot of these guys have like occult families or whatever relationships.
Yeah.
It's really true.
Yeah, this song here, Sympathy for the Devil, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember. It has been played in so many scenes in movies and video games, ushering in some sort of either satanic theme or a satanic figure because the song is about the devil. It's the devil singing to people, still figuratively, of course, because it's a human singing, but you know what I mean.
Right. No, it's like from the devil's perspective, right? Right. I was there when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. So he's saying that Satan was there. Yeah.
Pleased to meet you.
Hope you remember my name.
My name, yeah. And he said, I think the song also says that he goes by a lot of names. So definitely, there's no question that this song is satanic, okay? And the Sympathy for the Devil motif is ushered into a lot of movies. I'm not talking about the music now. I'm talking about the phrase, the posture of this being like Hellboy, as we discussed in our program the other day. They want you to have sympathy for this demonic being that came out of hell, right? And he is the Antichrist, at least in that storyline, right? And so the Sympathy for the Devil thing is it's even the TV show Lucifer. I haven't watched it, but I've heard about it. And it's the same thing. They want you to kind of be on Lucifer's side some way, you know?
Right. Lucifer's the good guy, right? They twist it. Right.
Oh, he gave up his little gig in hell and he's helping people out, yet he's cursing people, but don't worry about it. It's Lucifer.
Right. Well, isn't that going all the way back to like the idea of Prometheus and this going way, what is her name? Blavatsky and everything, is that the devil's the one who gives you culture and music and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is kind of the same thing. Sympathy is like trying to, normalize the devil's okay instead of a damned person who's, seeks to destroy, right?
Right. They act like he wasn't a murderer from the beginning.
Right, right.
So I'm just tired of seeing all this, but this showing us the culture of our time. Like you said back then in the 60s and 70s, this stuff, if they mention stuff, it would be all over the news. Look what they said. Oh, they're blaspheming God. Nowadays, cricket.
No, this is normal. I think they're on their 4th season of Lucifer or something like that. So it is definitely being watched. Yeah. I haven't had the metal to actually sit down and go through it, but
I just skipped it, man. I'm just tired of all this satanic stuff being thrown in front of our faces. So once I heard of this, the moment I heard of this, and there was outcry, and still it went forward. It was dropped from the original station, and then Netflix picked it up, and here we have it. I'm not sure if it's going to continue to a 5th or 6th season. I don't even know what season it's in, but
I thought it was 4.
It's 4.
I don't know. I'll double check. I thought it was some. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot of seasons. I think it's on season 6. Wow, you're right.
Yeah, see, season 6. Yeah. So this stems from the influence from the 60s and 70s. Yes, the Lucifer has been around for a long time, but our entertainment industry hasn't. Has it even been around for 100 years as far as television and movies?
That's a good question. I mean, when did it start? Right at the beginning of the 20th century, right? With that technology?
I think it was like 1920 or something like that.
Sounds right.
Let's just say it's been around for 100 years. That's nothing. That's nothing. A blip in time. So the entire world is engulfed in all this stuff, but a lot of it is also coming from America, and we've allowed Hollywood to grow in such a fervor over the last 50 years, and there's not too much outcry anymore. We let everything go, and
I think you're right.
We can blame Alice Bailey. We can blame Theosophy, New Age, Buddhism, Hinduism. We can blame all these things, but it's just evil from the wicked side. This name right here in the Cabala, he's pretty much the good guy, and God is the bad guy. And same thing in Gnosticism. So if you learn about these things, you'll understand why we were saying what we're saying. It's really sinister. So who's next? Jimi Hendrix? I didn't go look at my notes on Jimi.
You would have to tell me, because I don't know. I've looked through Jimi Hendrix. I mean, he is like the great. It's almost like his story was the guy who sold his soul to be the greatest violinist. Like, because for me, Hendrix was just on a class of his own. But I never knew. I don't know his kind of occult pedigree or things like that. I don't know that much about him, sadly. I mean, I've listened to his Voodoo Child, and there's definitely some elements of occultism, but I don't know. He was an excellent lyricist. All those lyrics and all those songs were his.
Yeah, he's very talented. I mean, I don't know how much of the demonic was into his talent, because sometimes, for people that don't know, sometimes the spirits will come and they'll endow you with talent to get you to be that figure of praise, so they can get the praise through that man or woman. I don't know if he was naturally talented. I didn't study his history, just like Prince. Prince seemed to be naturally talented, but how much of that was natural talent? We don't know. There's one story going around. I haven't found the proof yet, but I'll mention it anyway. Somebody told me to look at Michael Jackson's documentary after he passed. But supposedly, Michael Jackson and Prince were contacted in the same spirit, and the spirit would tell tell one of them that if you don't do this, I won't give you this song. I'll give it to Michael Jackson or vice versa.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. So that's something.
Well, we can talk about Michael Jackson because there's all kinds. Have you ever seen the picture of him wearing the 777 jacket down the side?
Yeah.
Also, a lot of obelisks at the very end of not Beat It. It was what's the one where he's dancing in the Thriller? I think it's the end of Thriller. There's like he's in front of an obelisk staring at the screen. So there's all kinds of occultism.
Yeah, he did have a lot of occult images that most people it just went over their head. Right. He even had the Masonic steps. Those were in one of his videos. Yeah. And people out there that don't know this stuff don't say, "Oh, you're just." No, I'm not talking about just regular steps. It was obvious. Okay, right. Very obvious.
And you could actually kind of make an argument that he was into full body modification, right? I mean, he just got into all that stuff. He doesn't. I mean, at the end of his life, he just doesn't look like when he was younger at all. And you've heard the story where his dad shot him up with drugs to make his body stop producing testosterone.
Oh, no, I've never heard that one.
Yeah, no, I think that actually the judge talked about it in one of the cases involving Michael Jackson. Yeah, you see the 777 jacket?
Right.
That goes back to Crowley's. He had a Liber 777, which was kind of a graph of all world religions and their similarities.
Yeah.
So same being, different name. It's going through Egyptian culture, Greek culture. But I think in the court case, I'd have to look that up. I think you can actually type it into Google and said the dad gave him drugs to make sure his testosterone. He was the youngest one of the kids, and the father didn't want to slay the golden goose, so to speak. So they made him into a Peter Pan character, and sure enough, Peter Pan he had the kind of Peter Pan place in Neverland and all that stuff. So he saw himself as a Peter Pan character.
Yeah, I could see that. No question. Oh, you also had the video. I don't remember the name of the video, but is the one where he turned into a werewolf, and it's not Thriller. Was it him turned into a werewolf?
I don't remember. I don't recollect. I don't remember. I remember we talked about with the Wiz last time. So there's another occult element of him being in the Wiz.
It was some bit. It wasn't. I guess he did do this in Thriller. My bad. But there's another one. There's another video.
I don't recollect
right now. I don't remember it right now. Anyway, I guess I'll bring that up another time. But I mean, Thriller was obviously occultic, and right. He even had to do a disclaimer where he would say, "Oh, this video doesn't have anything to do with the occult or whatnot," because they know. Come on, man. Yeah. This thing is so occultic is no joke. And we used to watch this as a child. I mean, we were into some of the scary stuff, so we didn't care. But as you grow older,
man, I love Thriller. I listen to Thriller all the time. It was an incredible album. I mean, incredibly influential album. Do you mind sharing my screen? Because I'll show you the picture at the end of Thriller where he's in front of. See the obelisk there, prominently displayed behind him. So
look at that. Yeah, I didn't catch that one. And for people that don't know, the obelisk is Baal's shaft.
Right.
Okay. It's a phallic symbol.
Right, but it's part of their religion. Like you got to find the obelisk, and it's all about. So.
Yeah. Let me see if anybody answered the question here. Whose house got burnt down in California? I should know right away, but I just can't remember, man. I don't see anybody answering the question. Oh, wait a minute. There's somebody says formerly Aleister Crowley's house.
Well, that's Boleskine burned down, I think, a couple years ago, and they're trying to rebuild it right now. That's Crowley's kind of home up in far north Scotland.
All right. Wait a minute. This is where?
So when Crowley did one of his first big rituals, it was called the Abramelin working. It's based upon an old kind of text that was found. So he bought in about right at the turn of the century, 1900, he bought a place on Loch Ness, right, with the Loch Ness monster. Yeah. He bought a place that literally overlooks the whole lake. It's kind of up on a hill overlooking the lake called Boleskine, Boleskine. Jimmy Page bought it, but the recently burnt down. But that was but I don't know if that's what you were referencing.
Okay, maybe I could swear it was in California, but maybe I'm wrong.
So this is Jimmy Page in front of Bulletskin Manor, which just went down.
It. So this is not in California. This is in
This
where?
is in North Scotland. So very kind of, if you looked at the map and saw Edinburgh and Glasgow, it would be even farther north than that.
Okay.
So the lake is Loch Ness, which is Loch means lake in whatever Scottish or Gaelic, and it's a very long, deep lake. But Crowley seemed to think that was an ideal, and he said he was haunted. Like the rituals haunted that place, and that place had like a real, people would see ghosts and stuff like that. People went insane there, so it had kind of a creepy ghost element to it. Yeah,
I bet, man. This stuff is so dark, but the public, they see the glitz and the glamour and the fame. Sometimes it's pretty much out there in your face, but most people don't care. And other times, they doll it up or whatnot. So
just one more thing on Bolson. It's interesting because one of Crowley's, I think he's a member of the OTO.
Yes.
Crowley's AA is the person who is soliciting funds right now to raise money to restore the manor to its original pre-burnt down size. And it actually, if you look at it, it's not really a huge building, but I think that in occult lore, it has so much importance to a lot of these Satanists that.
And what I also find important to mention here is they love to go out into the wilderness, into the trees, because they say that that's where you have greater connection with God or whatnot. But they're not trying to connect with the God of the Bible. They're trying to connect with these demonic beings.
Right.
That's
what the ritual was there for. That's what Crowley was doing. He never really finished the thing. He was supposed to take 6 months. Like, it's supposed to be really grueling. The Abramelin ritual involves all talismans and all this other stuff that supposedly, it actually was the goal was to have these demons from the Goetia, right? Solomon's Goetia, son of David. Mm-hmm. They become your servitors. So the goal is to have the demons become your servants.
I see that. Yeah, but you end up being their servants.
Well, right. That's kind of the thing. Let's see.
Right?
Let me see about Mel. You can actually read. If you're bored, you can read this Sacred Magic of El. This is it. So this is the manuscript. Let me see if I can find a thing of this.
Sacred Magic of Abramelin.
Yeah. Let's see. This is a better. So there's all kinds of elements. This is it. So S.L. McGregor Mathers was actually Crowley's teacher in the Golden Dawn. And Crowley, all those, like the imagery of Crowley, he lifted it. It didn't come out of nowhere. He kind of, that style of living and using costumes and stuff came from McGregor Mathers. And the idea of, translating works or mystical occult works also kind of came from Mathers. Then eventually he just kind of broke from Mathers. There's actually a court case between Crowley and Mathers because Mathers thought that Crowley took, quote, sacred, unquote, material from the Golden Dawn and published it after taking an oath not to reveal what was there. And there actually it's in the kind of British archives of history of them kind of disputing, and McGregor Mathers showed up at the courtroom in full magical regalia. So these guys, they took themselves pretty seriously. I think that Mathers actually lost that case, but it's just an interesting piece of this kind of occult history. Also, being knowledgeable about some of these earlier documents. So Crowley would go and take Mathers stuff and incorporate it. That's really what he was. He was actually incorporating a lot of earlier materials into his future religion.
Yeah. You had an artist you wanted to bring up earlier, and I can't remember. It was past this Jimmy Page stuff, Michael Jackson.
This is a more current artist. His name is Absol, and here is his discography. He's actually from Southern California, and is a Crowley aficionado or advocate. You can see this tattoo on his back says "Do What Thou Wilt."
Yeah.
It has 11,913 likes. He's got this, I forgot what this symbol is called, but that's on his chest. So he's got these occult tattoos and kind of your standard stuff. But I mean, for occultists. But one of his albums in 2016 was "Do What Thou Wilt."
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
So this theme has been going on a while in what you would call hip hop. For people that don't know, hip hop is not the music. Hip hop is the culture. The music is rap. Rap comes out of the culture of hip hop. So don't mix the two together. They're not one the same. Okay. So as far as hip hop goes, well, this "Do What Thou Wilt" maxim has been coming out more and more over the last 20 years. But hip hop is not new. Satanism is not new to hip hop. It's just now it's more blatantly shown. And I have a couple artists I can show you after you finish with this guy here.
Well, if people are bored or want to look in this guy, I mean, I think his real inspiration is Crowley, and he's talking about Aleister Crowley right here. This is from new hip hop, hot new hip hop. So he's had 100,000 views. So he kind of explains his ideas.
Yeah, never heard of him, but I guess people.
I thought that he was somewhat successful, but maybe I was wrong. I thought he was better known maybe than he is.
Yeah, I think some other guys are taking his place. We'll get into those in a minute. Let me hit this really quick. Where are we? I have to stream this guy. We'll just get him out the way.
There you go.
Because we have to "Do What Thou Wilt" here. Him and his wife, Beyonce, are straight up Satanists. People want to say that they are inside of the Illuminati. They're not. They're just puppets. They have masters, of course, and they're just putting out there whatever spiritual belief they have. In fact, Rockaware, his clothing company, I'm not even sure if he still owns that company, but one time I was in the house for a while and I came out, and when I say a while, I mean I wasn't going out a lot, okay? And when I came out and went to the clothing store, all I saw was these Jay-Z shirts with all sorts of Masonic stuff all over it. I'm like, what is going on? And it wasn't being hidden. It wasn't in the back of the store near the clearance rack. This was out in front view. And I said, wow, what is going on? I think this is a reference here to some of that stuff. Yeah, here it is. In fact, it was called Masters of the Craft. That was the line there. And it would have all this Baphomet and Boaz and whatnot, symbolism. And I was blown away. That's when I knew that Satanism was on a large ride inside of the hip hop culture.
Have you ever heard of him talking about Rain Man?
Yes.
Yeah. So Rain Man is supposedly Satan, right?
Right.
So
and
Satan makes it rain.
There are three people that I know that talk about Rain Man. That's Jay-Z, Eminem, and also Lil Wayne.
Oh, interesting.
And this was like the early 2000s. I'm not sure if they still reference that. I don't listen to their music anymore. But yeah. You see the t-shirts here?
Yeah.
This is
that's the layman. If that's his t-shirt, that's straight out of Crowley. That layman, that black layman with the seeing eye and the dove and the chalice. Yeah, that's right from Crowley.
All right. And we can get into his wife, but I'm not prepared for that tonight. This stuff is so suspect, and some people are starting to wake up to it. Some people, but for the most part, most are asleep.
Have you ever heard of Jay-Z being part of Boule or kind of black masonry, African American masonry?
But I wouldn't be surprised.
I think type in and say Jay-Z masonry audience. I think there was a picture of him in a masonry meeting. See right there, the guys with the white gloves, fourth.
Right here.
Yeah, I think that he's in there. I could have swore when he was younger. Yeah, spotted at Freemason meeting in New Jersey. I'm pretty sure that's him. Maybe it's not.
Oh, right there. He's right there.
Yeah.
Right here.
Is that right? Is that right? Is that him?
Here. Right here.
Yeah. So,
Unless that's somebody that looks very close to him.
maybe it's not him. But he's from New York, right? Wasn't he out of the projects of New York or something?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a Mason, though.
Right. So Boulay is kind of like, it's supposedly kind of higher end masonry, kind of like Skull and Bones, right?
Yeah.
It's a subset of masonry.
Yeah. That form of masonry they're the gatekeepers. They keep people down in their education and whatnot, but they elevate themselves with education. But they're the gatekeepers. You don't go outside of what they practice, and they'll stand up there as leaders of the community, but they're actually not letting the community rise up. Okay, as far as education and prosperity and whatnot. So,
but isn't that that's the same with all Masons, right? It's kind of like our people will get advancement, education, access to the best deals, monetary deals, banking deals, things like that.
Yeah, and also, this is important to bring up. I'm going to do a show about this, I think, next week. 5% Nation. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but this is a Jay-Z wears a 5% chain. What they are is the offshoot of Islam. Some of them are going to say they're not Muslims or whatnot, but it's the offshoot of Islam. Clarence X and Malcolm X used to run together, and they broke off. And Clarence made the 5% Nation, and for them, Allah means arm, leg, arm, head means you are God, you are Allah. Sounds familiar?
Wow. Right. Yeah. Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Fascinating.
So he says he's God. He believes that.
Right. It's the ultimate satanic principle. Man is God. Crowley wrote about it, Liber 77. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other God but man.
Yeah. So. And he calls himself Jehovah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a big thing back in when was that? Early 2000s. Yeah, Jehovah the God, right?
Right.
So,
isn't there like Charlemagne the God? Do you think that he's involved in that stuff too?
Oh, definitely. Anytime you're talking about they say the name and they got God behind it, they're definitely a part of that.
They're part of that. Wow.
No question.
That guy has an interesting background too. That Charlemagne the God. So interesting. He's a very prominent cultural figure. That guy, Charlemagne the God.
Yes, he is, and a lot of them are Democrats. So that's just a little tie there for you. Team here.
Do you want to move on from him? Because I would like to propose another artist, Kim Kardashian's husband.
Let's go.
Let's go. Type in Kim Kardashian and that witch that was just on there. What's her name? Vukovic. Abramovich. Yeah. I don't know. Type in Kardashian and her last name.
I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm taking this off first. I don't know how to spell her name. Who's that now? Kardashian?
Kardashian, yeah.
And Abramovich?
Yeah. They're definitely linked. They were. I mean, clearly
Kim Kardashian.
They used to have a picture of them together.
Oh, there you go. Kim Kardashian and Abramovich.
Kanye's this is an old arm. Wow, this is crazy. Look at this one. Let me share this for you. Let's see if I can find this.
Oh, all right.
You see that? Yeah, there you go. Kim Kardashian is now the spitting image of Marina Abramovich.
Hold on, before you go, somebody answer the question. So, Jack Parsons' home burned in California. I think Brett Ward might have answered it earlier, but I can't get back there. So Debbie Chapman answered Jack Parsons' home burned in California.
Abramovich, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So,
but this is interesting because before Kanye had his kind of return to the Lord Jesus, which I think is authentic, he got in very dark with her and some other characters.
Yeah, he was surrounded
by occultists.
I'm going to bring up a picture in a minute of Kanye, past Kanye. Okay, and it's one of the most disturbing pieces of art that I've ever seen from him. He's had disturbing ones before, but this one for me was just, I was like, what is going on with you, buddy? Let's see. You can go ahead and talk while I look this up.
Okay, so Kanye, if you look up, let me see if I can share this. Kanye West was, if you can look up Alejandro, I mean, it's a tough name. I'll pull it.
Yeah.
It's Kanye West and Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Jodorowsky. I would have spelled like
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
So this is them together. If you can pull my screen up. Let's see. Can you share my screen? There you go. So here's Kanye probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, with Alejandro Jodorowsky, who was an occultist and likes Crowley and an admitted blood drinker, human blood drinker.
Oh.
And you'll read about that in Children of the Beast. He literally admits to drinking human blood. It made his skin feel good.
Yeah.
So people think that this stuff isn't certified. Like, this is actual evidence, true evidence from this guy's own mouth, from Jodorowsky's own mouth. Yeah. He wrote about drinking blood. So you have Kanye West with him. And then if I go to the upper part right of the screen, here's Jodorowsky with Kenneth Anger. This guy, Donald Cammell, who I mentioned earlier, who was friends with the Rolling Stones. One of his best friends was Mick Jagger and Marlon Brando, actually, Donald Cammell. And Dennis Hopper, who was, I mean, it's incredible. Dennis Hopper's in all kinds of occult influence films and stuff like that. Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet.
Dennis Hopper? What? I didn't realize that. Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, so Hopper was in a movie called Night Tide with Jack Parsons' wife.
Uh-huh.
So he goes, and you get to 777. There's actually a picture of Hopper with Marjorie Cameron. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see, Hopper and Marjorie.
Sorry about that, guys. My dog. Oh my goodness.
So here, let's see if I can find the picture. Is not popping up, but this is the movie that if you see Dennis Hopper, Night Tide there. So this is the movie he was in, and this is literally Jack Parsons' wife right here is in the same movie.
Oh, okay.
But there used to be a picture online of Curtis Harrington, who was friends with. Here it is. Let's see. So this is Marjorie Cameron. That's her. There used to be a picture of all of these three together, but it's no longer on Google. Anyway, so Hopper has an interesting pedigree, but let's go back to Kanye, because he wasn't even friends with Alejandro Jodorowsky. He absorbed Jodorowsky's imagery. So this imagery is from Kanye West, and he's just taking it right out of, I think it's Holy Mountain.
Interesting.
So you got the pyramid, the moon.
Yeah.
And you can just see this is right out of Kanye's tour. Right? See, look at that. Straight out of Kanye's tour.
Right.
All of Jodorowsky and maybe some of his clothes. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And he also did one when he started his Sunday services where it was pretty much an Untitled Chapter.
Oh, really?
The whole
what's your impression of his Christian transformation? Is it legit?
I listened to the album and everything sounds legit. I don't agree with necessarily everything in there, but it sounds legit. I tell you what, if he's not legit, he's doing a better job than a lot of these Christian rappers out there. I'll tell you that much. So I think time will tell. Did you ever see his Apple podcast interview?
No, I don't really know. I don't listen to his music and don't know much more about him other than what I've shown you.
Yeah, well, I would suggest listening to that Apple podcast interview. It's very enlightening.
Was it the interview he did with Rogan?
Not Joe Rogan. It was some guy I never heard of, but it's on Apple Podcasts, and you can find it on YouTube. It's a video. Okay. But yeah, so I want to show you this picture here. Let me see. Where is it? Caught this around 2016, I believe.
There's a picture.
You see it?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So you have
pretty
these
dark.
Yeah. These ladies are pretty much little demons with the little snake tongues or whatever. And
isn't that Liv Tyler?
I don't know. Is it?
It looks like her. I can't tell. But I think this guy right here was Kanye's boyfriend at one time. This dude, forgot his name. He was an Italian kind of designer.
Yeah.
I think that there was some kind of weird relationship between Kardashian, Kanye West, and this guy whose name I can't remember.
You see the red? You see the red hand?
Yeah, interesting.
This guy, this is like the original photo right here. So then they go. So
the guy's name is Ricardo TC. If you look up TISCI, the guy is just heavily involved in the occult. He does all of these kind of things like Abramovich. Like there's all kinds of ritual stuff. But it's TISCI. If you look up TISCI.
Right here?
Yeah. So if you that's him. So if you type in TC and Kanye West, there's like pictures of them together. But I think that they were involved in really dark stuff. This guy Ricardo TC. But he's around with all these other celebs and Abramovich and stuff.
Yeah, we won't know the true story, man, unless he tells it. Oh my goodness. Just look at all these people.
But Kanye West had some kind of psychological break, right?
Yeah.
Can you so you show it. So those are them together. So that's TC and them. But let me show you this. Let's see if I can find the Abramovich pic. So there's TC with Marina Abramovich. Mm-hmm. So he's in that same circle. His wife, TC, Abramovich. And here's TC here. This is his pictures, man. It's a bunch of blood, Rottweilers. No, it gets darker. There's really dark pictures of this guy.
Yeah.
Satanic ritual. So this is Ricardo TC of Jay-Z.
Oh, that's where the image came from with the
Yeah, this is a picture of Jay-Z by the same dude who's hanging out with Kanye West, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
TC, and so we've already gone through Jay-Z. But look at this weird imagery, like black faces.
Yeah.
But there's another picture that I don't see on here, but it's like literally satanic ritual, like they're in a place with candles on a board with a victim. It's off the charts.
Wow.
It's getting
more and more blatant, right?
Yeah.
As we accept this Satanism in our culture, it's being accepted left and right. And one of the obvious reasons is because we're soaking up so much of the satanic imagery and entertainment. And I keep saying it. You look at these streaming services, and I guarantee you on the first page, you're going to find minimum 5 to 10 occult movies or TV shows. Minimum. Right?
Really true. No question.
Yeah. And well,
here's one. This is the guy. This is one, but there's a lot more pictures of this guy with all kinds of occult stuff. So there's him with a Rottweiler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just sick stuff, man.
Yeah, no, it gets worse. These guys are involved in.
I remember you showed me some stuff when we first met, and oh my goodness, that stuff was just nasty, man.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes on, like weird clothing, costumes.
Yeah. Is this the guy? Because I know there's a fashion designer that pretty much he designs for a lot of people, and he loves putting pentagrams near the women's chest, like it was sewn within the clothing, like the one.
I don't know. This is him with who's that?
Yeah.
Oh, this is him with Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
So he's all over the place. He's like Abramovich. He's all networked with these people. But there's a brutal pic of like a satanic ritual that he's done. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the one where he's putting the pentagram on that. There's that other guy. Have you heard of Mcqueen? I mean, it's not really a musician, but he had all kinds of satanic imagery in his clothes. Alexander Mcqueen is supposedly
maybe that too, because he's a designer for celebrities and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, he was like one of the top designers for celebrities and supposedly killed himself. Super successful, wealthy, sells his clothes for like 4 or 5 figures.
Yeah,
supposedly got depressed and went and one of those mysterious kind of Hollywood fame so-called suicides.
Somebody's asking you a question.
Okay,
isn't Peter Lavender tied to Hopper, etc.?
If he is, I'm not sure of that. Tied to Hopper.
Not sure. We're not sure.
I don't know. I've had like conversation. Well, I've exchanged emails with Lavenda, but Yeah, I mean, my story with Lavenda, I don't want to talk about that. Maybe offline.
That's a deep hole, isn't it?
It gets pretty deep. It's actually current. Like, that's the whole funny thing is people think the occult's in the past or something like that. But that guy was filmed at Lavenda was filmed at a ritual. There's pictures of Peter Lavenda at a ritual. He wrote the Necronomicon. Yeah, I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
And he's the one. He's in that meeting in the desert or whatever. That UFO group. There he is, prominently there, and he's put out all these books about occultism and Necronomicon. Oh, here's another usual suspect. Here's TC with Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
here we go. Here he is with Abramovich, TC. Who else is on there? I don't know. Some of those other people. Isn't that the girl? Isn't that the artist, musician? I can't remember her name.
I don't know. Some of these people I'm not familiar with because I jumped out of the whole music scene after being a DJ and a magazine owner and all that stuff in 2006. We had a website. NFL was gonna sponsor us, and Sony PlayStation was gonna sponsor us, and I dropped it all in 2006 and never looked back. So
you were like a refugee from all that stuff, all that darkness.
Yeah, man. Life was crazy back then.
I bet. You're lucky to make it out, man. Some people don't.
And the funny thing is, I was just at the border of the industry, just the border. We were just about to get signed, and people were willing to fly us out to California, all expenses paid. It was crazy. But
where did they tell you to, come to the after party, so to speak?
No, we didn't get that far because God stopped it. Okay,
that's good. You're lucky.
Yeah. So this guy I want to bring up here.
Well, this is just one more thing. This is kind of interesting because this model on the right, Campbell, ties into Epstein, right? You've got Kardashian, and this is Johnny Depp's ex-girlfriend in the turquoise, and then Naomi Campbell's all deep with Epstein, neck deep, and occultism. Have you ever seen Naomi Campbell's mansion?
No.
Watch this. Type in Naomi Campbell mansion into Google.
Oh boy.
Yeah, get ready. I'll let you share your screen.
Naomi Campbell. I'm bringing up another rapper in a second.
Okay.
Campbell. That's so fast sometimes. A bunch of misspelled words. Oh my goodness. No way. Hold on a second. So the eye of...
That's it, yeah.
Oh my gosh. You can't make this stuff up, man.
Can't make it up. Can't make it up. This is a different class, man. They're in a different world than other people, I think. They're definitely an elite class. It's a big freaking Eye of Horus.
Yeah, sold out to Satan. Wow. What's this thing over here? Is this an Ankh?
I don't know.
Because the fertility symbol or Isis, they can't copulate because the phallic symbol is missing. So
I don't know.
Very interesting. It looks like it is an Ankh. Look at that.
Right. So there you go. That's probably her religion, right there.
So we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. The Eye of Horus, Isis, Semiramis, Nimrod, Tammuz. Here it is, folks. Here it is. That's the fertility symbol that looks like a cross. That circle is the vajayjay, and Horus cannot have. He can't mate with her because the penis is missing. So, yeah, I'm gonna move to the rapper now. You got anything else to say about that?
I don't know. I think I've done Kanye, Jay-Z. I don't know.
All right, this is one somebody. A lot of people don't suspect, but in his early days, it wasn't brought out into his music that became popular. He's dead now. For those that don't know who this is, Big Pun. But when he was before he got signed, he was into a lot of devil music. Okay, even what's his name, Fat Joe admits that on camera. So I'm not going to spend too much time on him. He's gone, and he had I think he had 2 albums. So died young. He was overweight. So, but he was definitely into a lot of devil music. But here we go. Here goes some. Let's see here. Boom. Okay, let me go with this one first. This is some obscure group. I don't know who they are. I mean, I know who they are. Their name is Twin Temple. But it says Satanism and doo-wop might not go together at a first glance, or second, or third. In fact, the combination of Amy Winehouse-style vocals with black lace and fake blood seems a match made in hell. Well, hell, whatever they're saying there. But seven-piece group Twin Temple make it work. They have been captivating audiences with their devilish live shows, and will surely become a 2019 festival favorite. So I guess they're going to that. We're going to that festival, the big one. Can't remember. Was it Coachella or something like that? Anyway,
sounds right. Just to go back. Sorry, Chris, but just to finish up with Naomi Campbell. One of the Epstein stories by one of the victims is by Virginia Giuffre Roberts Giuffre, and she said she went to Naomi Campbell's birthday party in France with Epstein and Maxwell. He was arrested in jail still, right? Where they're waking up every 15 minutes. And it's confirmed because those pictures are on Mirror Co. UK website. So you can see pictures of Epstein, Campbell, Maxwell, and Giuffre all together. It's crazy.
Wow. And it always gets deeper and deeper and deeper, especially with this whole Epstein stuff. What's the lady that got arrested? And she's in custody right now, and she's fearing for her life.
It's Elaine Maxwell.
Elaine Maxwell. They say she wakes up every 15 minutes to make sure she's alive.
Or they wake her up, right? They just want to make sure she's breathing. Can you imagine if she died in custody? It would just be terrible.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the fact that Epstein died in custody was terrible. But
some people say he didn't die. They took him out. Whatever the story is, he's not giving a testimony.
Right. Well, that's important. I mean, I think these guys have to die. They have to pay. Somebody has to pay the mob to get rid of them because they just had too much information on powerful people with tons of money. And that's the group that they're in by. So I don't think Epstein killed himself at all. Very likely probability.
Yeah, no way. And the guy was tall, man. I mean, anyway.
Did you see who they put him, who was like a cellmate, the guy who like might be one of the people who did him in? He was just a giant. He was a huge roided up guy with big old muscles all over his neck and stuff. I can't remember his name. He was a monster, man. He had killed he brought 4 guys into a bar and did a treatment on them, and they didn't come out alive, man.
Yeah. And he was going to jail for a long time. Yeah. All connected to the music industry. And more, of course. So this right here, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I just want to show you guys that it's nothing new to the culture of hip hop, okay? And this guy right here is fairly new here, this guy. And this is 3 6 Mafia right here, right? You see the upside down cross or whatnot. So pretty much one of the first ones to start singing about Satan was Big L. I didn't care for his music, but I cared for it less when I started hearing about the devil stuff. So it says, on my skull, the 666, no tricks. When I catch fits, my mom picks up the crucifix and I kill chumps for the cheapest price. I'm rolling with Satan, not Jesus Christ. Enemies, I got several done. Big L straight from hell. The mother devil's son. All right. And also, in my testimony, I mentioned Gravediggers. At the time, I was listening to a lot of Wu-Tang Clan. And Gravediggers is out of the Wu-Tang Clan, and it had, I think, 3 or 4 members. And so anyway, listening to GZA, okay, let me just cut this out for a second. Listening to GZA at night, I would go to it with my tape player. This is 1994. And I would just listen to this stuff over and over and over and over and over and over again. Go to sleep with it, get into my car, put the tape in, drive to work, come back. I'm listening to that, go to sleep again, rinse and repeat, right? And at this period, I started to go back to church, and all of a sudden, I'm starting to get held down at night. But remember, I'm a 20-something-year-old guy. I don't know what's going on, okay? And so it started to get so bad. It was pretty much from once every week to every other day, right? And I would ask church folks what's going on. At the time, I came down with a terrible fever. And I would ask church folks like, hey, what's going on? This is happening to me. And the only answer they gave me was I was giving the devil too much glory. I'm like, I need help here. I need answers, you know? So instead of going to humans, I went to God. And I gave a prayer, and I did not expect an answer, okay? I just went and prayed in faith. And one night I had a dream, and a Gravedigger song started playing. It was a Diary of a Mad Black Man or something like that. And the beat started, and then all of a sudden the record started skipping and skipping and skipping. Then a voice said, it's the music that you're listening to while these things are happening.
Wow.
And so after that, I got a couple more demonic attacks, but the last one, I didn't see per se, I felt 2 on my arms, 2 on my legs, and in my mind's eye, I saw a smoky figure come up behind my door, and no eyes, no nothing, just smoke. And all I could do was yell out the name of Jesus, and they left. That was it. And from there, I started listening to more theater music, and I didn't drop secular music altogether then, but I stayed away from that, what I was listening to. So yeah, that's my story.
That's like a sleep paralysis story too, where people like the only thing they can do is call out for the Lord, say Jesus, and then if you look at the sleep paralysis stories, they're very similar because they feel like they can't move. Something's holding on to them or sitting on their chest. They say Jesus.
Right, exactly. And you hear a lot of this in the ufology community too, but I don't want to go off into that right now. Thanks
for sharing that story. That's a great story.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So you had Gravediggers, and then you have 3-6 Mafia, right? And they went deep. Let's see here. This is from Paul. He says we were into horror movies and serial killers. I talk about this stuff all the time, why we need to stay away from this stuff as Christians. But sometimes it falls on deaf ears. It's more like a character, I'd say, like Robert De Niro playing the devil in Angel Heart, or
super occult film, by the way.
Right. Or Al Pacino in Devil's Advocate, another super occult film. Right. And he said that he was raised in a religious family. Every Sunday, he went with his parents to church. He still goes to this day. But 3-6 gave him the chance to explore his darker tendencies, to tell his real life story of chaos and violence through love, through his love of horror. Right. So horror always leads to dark. I mean, it's all dark. So, let's see. Satan worshiper or thug would be my profile.
Wow.
Read my file. This is lyrics now. I've been a mean child for a while within a mystic style. That's Paul's rap, right? And I can go on and on about that. Let me see if there's any interesting lyrics here. Okay. During the song's chorus, a woman sounds like she's singing, "You are God, you are King Lucifer." This is a urban myth about one of their songs, okay? And so going down, you have another guy from having merchandise adorned with 666 and inverted crosses to the lyrical content. Tyler's 2011 album, Goblin, which is a demon, is full of satanic references, and groups references to Satan were a topic of discussion on numerous forums during their rise. Let's see here. One of the lyrics, I believe this is, let me see, isn't that? Let's see. Lyrics on the title track. Oh, that's a 3-6. Isn't he a devil worshiper? Cause I'm too effing ignorant to do some research. So anyway, some of these lyrics are just dumb, but these are the people. I'm not going to stay too long on this. Who was this? Shababi. I had never heard of him before, but he's popular, I guess. This is, I think this is, let me see here. What's his name? Triple six, whatever. Anyway, I don't got time for this. Some of these people. I don't know these people. But you have Lil Uzi Vert. I think that might be who this is, or maybe he's next. I think that's who this is. Anyway, when you say his name fast enough, you say Lucifer, Lil Uzi Vert.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not interested in any of these artists. Just done with this whole scene. But I'll be reporting on some of this later on in Spirit Behind the Music.
Here, have you ever heard of the band Ghost?
Ghost.
Ghost. Look them up. Look up their imagery. It's a totally satanic band. I guess it's not pop. Look up Ghost Band. And all their songs are about occultism, hammer and square, all this other stuff.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, and they dress up like what do you call it? Like Kiss or something?
Yeah. You know what? Now that you mentioned Kiss, what do you know about them? Because I hear their name means Knights in Satan
Service. I've heard that as well.
I'm not sure. Listen, there's a documentary that all you guys need to see. I'll bring it up in a minute. But go ahead and talk about this, and I'll bring up that documentary.
Well, I don't know much about this band. The reason I know them is because they just talk about Satanism. Every song has some occult influence. Obviously, the design of their costumes and outfits and things like that, occultic, upside down cross, like you can see there. But yeah. I remember one. I can't remember. Can you come with me on the square? Is one of their lyrics like some kind of occult thing, but I can't say I've studied them in great detail. So, yeah. But I know, it's totally a cult band. Like, I'm just not interested in listening to that stuff, but just kind of for my own frame of reference, I remember Ghost.
Yeah, this documentary right here. I recommend everybody look at this documentary. They have a 4-hour version, I think, of 6 and a 10-hour version. A lot of the things that we talked about tonight are in this documentary.
Yeah, it's an excellent documentary.
Excellent. And the group that pretty much put this together, they did incredible research on Elvis, Black Sabbath, you name it, even Eminem and DMX and some of the people that were around at this time, early 2000s. It's a really good documentary. I can't recommend it enough. I haven't seen anyone else except for another one called Hell's Bells. They have Hell's Bells 1 and 2. That documentary is pretty good as well. Let me see if I could find it real quick.
Right. You want to talk about music, maybe not something very contemporary, but Liberace, who was like a flamboyant piano player, was supposed to be a member of the Church of Satan. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that, but I'm not surprised. Let me tell you, you know why?
Why?
I'm not surprised because I've been studying a little history on classical music. And it turns out that not all, but a lot of the famous ones they were into Satanism of some type. Sometimes they'd have the classical music playing while you have the jester, which is pretty much a significance of demon. And what they would do is usher in the spirit for that party where they put the mask on.
Oh, interesting. Like a mask party or masquerade ball.
Yeah.
One of the things I do know about Mozart is that the Magic Flute was a Masonic inspired opera. So one of Mozart's final works or final pieces was called Magic Flute, if you want to look that up. But that's supposed to be like fully Masonic.
What was that called now?
The Magic Flute.
The Magic Flute?
Magic Flute.
And that is a song.
It's an opera.
Opera.
Yeah, I think it's an opera. It's definitely it's Mozart, who they don't really say anything about occultism, but that's it. The Magic Flute.
It's kind of good you bring this up because there's a show in Vegas called Soul Day or something like that, and it's totally new age, totally new age. I haven't been there, but I've read about it. I look into the advertisements and whatnot, but you could tell it's totally new age. So you have
there's like a book called The Magic Flute Unveiled: Esoteric Symbolism in Mozart's Masonic Opera. Magic flute has been described as an enlightenment allegory veiled in Masonic ritual.
Wow. So Mozart was part of the gang too, huh?
I mean, he's associated with it. Yeah, seems like it.
And
he was so young when he died too. So maybe his dad was, or he was just in that environment. I think it was Vienna, right?
Yeah. I'm going to bring up a word that some people don't realize. I think it means hell. Yes, it's a word for hell. Let's see here. Sticks.
Sticks, right?
Sticks. Let me see. Hell. Yeah.
Here's a writing. San Francisco Opera Education. The magic flute is barely veiled Masonic allegory cannot be doubted. It acts, in fact, as a kind of introduction to the secret society.
Oh, where is that? Let's show that. Show that.
Yeah. So this is SF Opera. Can you see that?
Right here.
Yeah, I just highlighted it.
Okay.
Again, it says that the magic flute is a barely veiled Masonic allegory cannot be doubted. It acts, in fact, as a kind of introduction to the secret society.
Mm-hmm.
The story celebrates the main themes of Masonry: good versus evil, enlightenment versus ignorance, and the virtues of knowledge, justice, wisdom, and truth. The evocation of the four elements: air, earth, fire, water. The injunction of silence in the Masonic ritual, so that you've got the whole role of silence. The figures of the bird, the serpent, and the padlock, as well as the rule of three, all play important roles in the plot or in the musical fabric of the opera. 3 ladies, 3 boards, 3 loud chords at the beginning of the overture. All these symbols and characteristics come from Egyptian lore and the various original texts of Masonry. Hence, the opera's libretto is set in Egypt, although many productions eschew that specification.
See? Yeah, because
it goes back, right? So it's not like it's always been around. We just don't talk about it on the news, I guess.
Yeah, I've done a small, very small research on the classical music, but there's also a book out there about it. I can't remember the name right now, but when I do another show on music, I'll try to remember to bring that up, guys. So thank you for that. And also here's this Styx, the river Styx, right? Redirects here from the band Styx, right?
Right.
So in Greek mythology, Styx is a deity and a river that forms the boundary between Earth and the underworld. The river, what's that? Acheron? That's how you say that? Acheron?
Yeah, Acheron.
And all these other rivers. And Styx all converge at the center of the underworld on a great marsh, which sometimes is also called Styx. According to Herodotus, the river Styx originates near Phineus. Styx is also a goddess with prehistoric roots in Greek mythology as a daughter of Tethys, after whom the river is named and because of whom it had miraculous powers. So I think Stevie Nicks also had a song called Styx. Did she? I think
Sounds so. Probably. She's apparently very witchy.
Yeah.
Witch influenced.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is all interesting, and it just shows you our culture, though. It shows you the signs of the times, the thought sets within different ethnicities, and how pretty much the neo-pagan movement starting from actually the 60s and 70s has grown It has legs, and it's actually trying to sit in front of you every single day.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah. So, guys, you got any questions? Let us know. We might end this soon. I don't see any. Let me see. Let me scroll back here to see if we have any questions. You already answered one. Well, you tried to answer the one. Answer one. Let's see. Let's see one there. We already said. Any questions? Let us know. Yeah, this is all fascinating stuff, man. But DMX. For people that don't know who DMX is, he's Dark Man X, and he had a ton of hits on the Rough Rider records. And let me look up.
I remember DMX. I don't know what happened to him.
Well, supposedly he had got on some crack or whatnot, and now he's supposed to be a minister of the gospel. I'm not sure how true that is. I've seen one or two videos, but all I would say, I won't make a assessment now, but just actions speak a lot too, So
Agreed.
This album right here, Flesh of My Flesh.
DMX, yeah. I wonder what happened to that guy.
Yeah, he was big in mid late 90s and stuff, and early 2000s. And on this album is where he said, I can't say the lyrics in totality. Let's just put it this way: he rapped about necrophilia, and he said he had blood on his man part, and he did something with a corpse. Okay, so if he's changed, he's changed. I guess I don't know, right? But he's not putting out a lot of records today. But most of his stuff was pretty much he would open prayer with prayer on his album, end with prayer sometimes. But he always, it's like he had two persona, that duality that you find in masonry and other places.
Right.
And pretty much you can find a lot of bad subject matter on his albums, right? I had the first one, the second one, the third one, and I had the fourth one too, but that's where I stopped. Dark Man X. So
that's what that stands for, Dark Man X?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes perfect sense.
Man X, yeah. And as we go more into these programs, I'll be giving some audio snippets or whatnot, something that the people say, because a lot of people don't understand that rap is poetry, just like any songwriting, right? And there are ways that there's a method to hide subject matter within the lyrics. If you aren't from that culture or from that hood or that certain ghetto, you won't get it because they use the slang, but within the slang, they'll cover it up by using other slang that they make up. I used to be a rapper, well, still am in a Christian way, but I never made it a point to hide my intentions in the music, right? So that's one of the things about rap that a lot of people don't understand, and I'm gonna try my best to expose some of that stuff. And it's not a thing of demonizing, rap music, but the culture is not cohesive to Christianity. It's just not. So let me see here if we have any questions. No. But I'll tell you one thing before we end. You just got to, in your personal walk with Jesus, you got to be careful what you're listening to, even Christian music. Okay? You have Bethel music. You have Hillsong. Many people don't understand why Hillsong is bad. And listen, they have great writers. You can't take away the talent. But there's a lot of new age in there, a lot of twisting of scripture and whatnot. So you want to be careful of the stuff that you're putting in. Even Lauren Daigle, she's questionable as well.
Who's the person you're talking about?
Lauren Daigle.
Lauren Daigle, I don't know.
Yeah, let me look her up real quick.
Hillsong, they have a lot of scandals, but one of the lead guys just got punted, right? Lentz.
I don't know.
Lentz?
I stopped. I don't know.
I think his name was Lentz. They were up to no good. They were doing bad stuff. He was up to more. I think they had a story that he would. I don't want to get into it, but it's bad. Hillsong, there's some corruption there for sure.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say a lot of. No, there's definitely a lot of corruption in Hillsong. That would take maybe one or two shows to actually.
Okay.
Their pastor in Australia, he said that Jesus, our God and the God of Islam is the same. No.
I wouldn't even trust anything Hillsong said just on that statement.
Yeah. Right. No. Yeah. And Bethel Church comes out of the NAR movement, the New Apostolic Reformation. Yes.
I had no idea. Oh no. Hillsong is no.
Yeah.
No Christian should ever go to Hillsong, please. Get a Bible and read it yourself. It's much
and that's so you got Hillsong and you have Bethel Church, Redding, California. Those two right there.
Are they both NAR? Is Bethel NAR?
Bethel is definitely NAR.
Oh, okay. No. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, this is like I come on your show. I learn more from you. My own stuff. I didn't know that. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Sorry, that changed a lot of insight things for me. Sorry. Wow.
Because since I was in Bible college and I took a break now, I wasn't able to report on all this stuff. And it's some damning evidence out there for this, man. I'm telling you. So I stay away. I wasn't like a person that would pretty much swallow a lot of Hillsong music, but I started hearing stuff about them around probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And I started being more cautious, but I liked Oceans, that song Oceans. And there's some other songs I like too. And then sometimes when I'm flipping through a playlist, I'm like, that song sounds good. Who is that? My daughter will say Hillsong. I'm like, oh, really? So
I've seen some of their productions in the Holy Land. They're nice. I mean, they're good productions, good music.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if Satan's going to corrupt something, he's not going to bore you to death. He's going to bring something to you that appeals to you. Like, it's just like how a lot of people even Christians are drawn towards dark metal music. They just are, I don't know if it's something that they don't want to give up, but they bring that into the whole Christian, format as well. And, I'm not a person that's to each his own. I'm not that moral relativism person, but there's a thin line of legalism. You know what I mean? But I just think that if something is super dark, I don't think God has anything to do with that.
No, I don't think so too.
So this is Lauren Daigle. I'm not going to say much about her now, but one of the big things about her is she would not say that homosexuality is a sin.
It's not biblical. Yeah, that's for sure.
Right. And I'm hearing whispers. I cannot prove it. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you what I've heard is that she supposedly said that she's a Catholic. I don't know if that's true. I just have to search it out. So if anybody wants to search that out, you can as well. I like both of her albums, but when she started slipping and sounding more like she wants to be a friend of the world and all this stuff, then I started questioning her. And then when she made that statement on the radio program about God will have to be the judge of that, and I'm like, huh? Come on, are you reading your Bible? Are you reading your Bible? It's obvious. So people like to placate with the secular audience because they know the secular audience know why they're asking a question. So you should know why they're asking a question. And so, I think she's surrounded by people of all these different lifestyles, and so she doesn't want to upset them. And that's a problem because friend of the world is the enemy of God. That's what the Bible says.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Right. So even with Christian music, you have to be careful. There's a lot. Okay, there was a guy, can't remember his name right now, reported on it around 2016. He used to run around. I think he was like a stage, one of those guys that set up the stages, and he would do all these tours for these Christian artists. And then I believe what happened is he tried to murder his wife, and then he went to prison. And
I heard about the guy. I do. Yeah.
In prison. He gave the report that when he was traveling with all these people, he said 99% of them are not Christians.
Wow.
He hung out him that much that he, obviously you have conversations, you have these parties and whatnot. So you start to figure it out. And I remember when this is around 2007, 8-ish, I started listening to more Christian music. And my favorite band was Cast and Crown. I have nothing bad to say about them. That was just where I started to, get my my liking again for a lot of Christian music. And so anyway, I started picking up some new bands. And then I started seeing occult symbols on these, like Third Day and some of these other groups. I'm like, why are these occult symbols on these albums? So you start figuring a couple of things out. Like, some of these guys cannot be, they can't belong to Christ if they're using this stuff. So what happens is they pretty much say that they didn't make it in the secular world. And then they take the Christian genre because it's not overcrowded, right? And they make it there, and they make a lot of money. All you have to do is write a good song and inject Jesus here, inject Jesus there, and there you go. And that's even if they inject Jesus in it, right?
Right.
And they make a ton of money. And
it's a good point. Didn't they just have a really prominent Christian musician just say that he didn't believe anything he was singing about?
Yeah, and I can't remember his name because I never listened to him. But yes, that's a pattern. Ever since the mid 2000s, or probably even before that, these Christian artists are denouncing their faith, falling away, right? And
if they ever really had it, right?
Right, exactly, right, yeah. If they ever really had it, so I just want to give that clarion call, man.
No, it's important. It's important. I mean, sometimes they're just, some of these Christian songs are so like sugary sweet. It's like I don't care. I'm really much more classical Christian hymns for me.
Yeah. Because it's a very slippery slope nowadays. And what I'm finding out is a lot of them sound the same. A lot. Okay? And there's no substance. No substance. When I recorded my song 4 months ago, there was a deep message that I'm trying to put out about transhumanism, hybridization of humanity, ID 2020, and all this stuff that we found out, some of it after COVID, right? That's the whole song. It's not about trying to make you feel good, I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking about the book of Revelation. It's a serious message. Not that every song has to be that, but these people, they don't want to mention Jesus. Or they'll say he, or Lord,
right,
or you, that's all they want to mention. And that's so they can placate to the audience.
Right.
Don't feel bad about your sin. Whoever you worship, he, Lord, whatever, that's the one covering you.
Right.
And yeah, as somebody said down at the bottom, Lecrae as well. Yes, I believe Lecrae is problems. He pretty much wants to be a friend of the world. What I'm seeing now, though, I think he was signed to Atlantic or somebody. Anyway, he left that label, but the way he talked in his interview sounded like he saw some things, And I don't know if he's saved or not. I'm just saying he has problems, and I've been seeing it for years. And a lot of the younger folks are like, Lecrae. He's so wonderful. I mean, he has talent, but I wasn't drawn to his music. Let's put it that way. So yeah, it's very troubling to me that we're at this point where we cannot recognize authentic Christian music. Now, whether you like Casting Crowns or not, they mention Jesus all the time. It's always uplifted. It's always biblical. It's always focused on the gospel, And somebody tried to say that their album cover, what's it called? My favorite album, I can't remember right now because I'm talking to you. What's it called? Give me a second here. Thrive, right? I'm going to dispel something really quick. It's about their album cover, and I'll show it to you. It's called Thrive, and Why won't this thing move? Get in there. Come on now. There we go. All right. Somebody tried to say that this is the Cabala tree of life. It's not. It's not. There's a theme behind this, and it's about an oak tree that is watered at the bottom, but you can't see it. And what happens? It thrives through the water, which they're kind of saying it's the Holy Spirit. It's a allegory, and you see the oak tree, and it's pretty much thriving at the top, but at the bottom you can't see the roots and what's watering it, right? And so it's not the Cabala tree of life. It's not. I've listened to the album over and over, and there's no occult references. So hopefully they don't slide on the Catholic bandwagon like a lot of groups are. A lot of them are now meeting with the Pope, or putting Catholic message in there, or maybe they're Catholic. I don't know. You get all sorts of run over when it comes to these groups. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about modern Christian rock. I wish I could provide you with some edifying comments, but I really don't know. I don't know much about them.
No, it's okay, because some stuff you're talking about, I don't know, and I'm learning too, So
well, that's good. That's the way it should be. Still learning. I'm still learning, for sure.
Dean Carter. Dean Carter always has something controversial, man. He says, Casting Crowns, they might not be Freemasons, but I can bet the management is. C is third letter in English alphabet. FM used the alphabetic code C equals 3. They use the first letter in names as the code carrier, thus CC or 33, highest level in Freemasonry. That's not by chance. I mean, listen, we can make something out of everything. My name is Hurricane 7. You could put the numerology on my name and say it comes out to whatever you think. I don't have proof for that. I need proof. Just like how computer, when you do the numerology number on computer, it comes out to 666. But the computer isn't the Antichrist, and it doesn't necessarily lead to the Antichrist, but the technology might, but it's the number of a man. The number of a man. The Bible is clear. There's some other stuff that come out to 666 as well. So I don't play the numerology games all the time, except for when I have some rock solid proof, like Joe Biden's number that equals 666, 3033, whatever it was, the number to take them to vote.
Oh, really? Well, that was 666. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So all that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know who came up with the band name Casting Crown. It could have been them. It could have been the company. I don't know. I need to search it out, but as far as I know, they've been totally on point this whole time. Also, yes, the companies that they sign with, they're definitely not. What the major record labels did is pretty much they bought up all the small gospel labels. They just gobbled them up. Just like how Google is gobbling up this and Facebook is gobbling up that. That's what the major record labels did. So you hardly have any independent labels anymore. They're there, but a lot of the old gospel ones are gobbled up. So that's why you'll see a group like Casting Crown or whoever, name the group, if they're real, sign into Sony, sign into Arista, sign into all these labels that are owned by pretty much Satanists.
Interesting. Do you know who Casting Crowns, who their company is?
Let me see here. I forget. It's I see the doggone thing. It looks like Sony.
Sony, that makes sense. I mean, I think they generate a lot of money, right? Casting Crowns sold tons of albums.
Well, here's the thing about Casting Crowns that'll surprise you. Their revenue is going down every time they release an album. I checked that out last year. Yeah, it's Sony.
Career sales have exceeded 10 million records. That's a lot of money.
Let's see. Provident Label Group, a division of Sony Music.
Right.
Yeah.
So Provident is probably their Christian label, right?
Yeah.
Christian imprint.
Yeah. And with the music industry, there's I forgot to show it to people. Forgot to show you guys. Here we go. That's the album cover, and that's the label right there's Sony, whatnot, right? So I lost my train of thought now. Go back to
We're
that.
just talking ownership of Christian Christian bands, how they're all absorbed into a larger corporate system, corporate type system.
And the music industry on a whole, it's a machine. Okay.
All those music and right. It's all about money, right?
Yeah. And so
they don't care about art.
Yeah. If you're a Christian and you want to go into to do gospel music, or whatever one you want to label it, and it belongs to Christ, it's not an easy road, especially if you're weak in your flesh. I don't care if you're doing secular music or gospel music, there's fornication in there, okay? Because it's a system that, let me put it this way. You can have the least amount of fame to the highest amount. It always comes with the territory. So you have to be sold out to Jesus. And these people are still going to try to get you to sign your name in blood. Maybe not every label, but it's popular. It's something that happened to Mark Dice and some other people. They tried, and there was another guy, Indian dude. When I say Indian, I mean Native American, that gave his testimony in my pastor's church, and he was gonna, him and his group were gonna go very far. So they went to the record label. I can't remember the label right now. I'm not even sure if he mentioned it. But they went into a room, and it was a white room that you hear about, like from people like John Todd or whatnot. And they pretty much said, we need you to sign your name in blood, and the devil and all this stuff. And so don't think it's not real. It's real.
Yeah, I heard Drake went through something like that. Like he went through some huge initiation.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's wearing the owl. He's wearing Molech. Yeah. Some of these guys, the initiation is not necessarily signing your name in blood. It's setting you up to do an act of sex, or they'll get you to get drunk or take drugs. And the next minute, if you're a man, you wake up and you feel some pain down in the nether regions, and right. You wonder what happened.
Well, that's what I heard happened to Drake. Something like that. Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no, I have to look that back up. I read something about.
Yeah.
It was about homosexual acts. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me though. Lil Wayne talked about some interesting things having to do with Baby when he was younger. I was like, okay, that's weird that you're talking about this. So the acts of debauchery when it comes to the music industry, there's any of the industries, there's no end to it. Once you start hanging around with the wrong people, you have to have your guards up, especially when it comes to contracts as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a nasty, nasty industry. I'm not signed with anybody. I put out my own music.
Those contracts are they're vicious, man. They always are for the label's benefit, and the distribution of knowledge and power is very unequal, because typically the musicians are not hard-headed negotiators, right? And the labels are just about as bloodthirsty and ruthless as you can imagine. Right. So if they think they can make money off you, man, they will tie you up for 5 years. The stories of artists trying to get out of contracts are legion, and that's kind of when I practiced law. That's what I did in contracts. I said, never sign anything over a year. Just don't do it. I don't care what your contract, but if you're signing anything over a year, I know it's not really on topic, but just don't do it, because things could change like you couldn't believe.
No, it's fine.
One album contract, get out, start over, renegotiate it, do it again. Don't sign long-term contract, baby.
Yeah. It's on topic to a degree, because these people, some of them don't make it anywhere, and they still get raped. And I'm not talking about figuratively, okay?
It probably feels literal, but yeah, right.
Yeah. They still get passed around, especially the females. Nowadays, probably both male and females. They get passed around to rich people or people that are in between, and you would be shocked at the stories that are told that happen to people that you think are right on point. And one, they don't have any money. They look like they have money, but they really don't. They've been raped probably multiple times, and stuff like that. It's a wicked industry, and most people that are going in are young and naive. They don't want to read. They're not pushed to read anything, so they go in unlearned. They don't know about contracts. They don't know about money. They don't know about royalties. mechanical royalties, all the technical terms that I can shoot off. And they're just happy that they're going to be rich.
Right. They think they're going to be rich, right? They've been sold their dream. Some of I mean, that happens to book publishers. Somebody who publishes their own book. Book publishing is just as bad, man. You could sell away hard-fought books for nothing, you know.
Right.
But going back to Jimi Hendrix, it's actually kind of a famous case that's talked in law schools, is the case of his dad selling off Jimi Hendrix once Jimi Hendrix died, the ownership of his music went to his father, and his father wasn't very sophisticated. So somebody came in and offered him like $100,000 for the full catalog of Jimi Hendrix recording, which was worth incredible sums of money, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And the Hendrix Sr. took it. He just thought it was a great deal because he had money in his hand. And some lawyer said, hey, man, you just did a terrible deal. And it was actually one of the few contracts that's overturned due to unconscionability, which is a legal standard where the inequality of the negotiants is so outrageously different that the judge will just say, no, this contract is null and void. So a lot of the really powerful record companies, book companies, make sure that they're in an advantageous position when negotiating a contract, but not too advantageous, because it could potentially be, if it's really onerous, it could be overturned. In some of these, they're actually done like some of the early Aerosmith records, they don't even own. So the stuff you hear on the radio that somebody's making, they're not even making a penny on some of those songs like Sweet Emotion and stuff. They sold it off from the very early to their producer, and they got a pittance for it. And they went to court and lost. Yeah. And so you got to really be careful.
Look at Taylor Swift. She's going through that.
A lot of them are, man. A lot of them get terrible deals. There's just not great deals for artists. If you can sell your own stuff, do it. It's the way to go, if you can.
The one particular thing, I can't necessarily prove it, but it's interesting, right? So Michael Jackson was about to own his masters, right? And he bought the masters for the Beatles. Did you know that?
Right. Yes, I was familiar with that. Yeah.
And
for a substantial sum, like $70 million or something like that. Yeah.
And before he died, he didn't get his masters.
Interesting.
Michael Jackson. Guess who else that happened to?
I don't know.
Prince,
right. Prince was in fighting with his record company forever. I think he had these guys have litigation that you just never want to get involved in. If you did not sign that contract, you wouldn't be in these guys don't anticipate they could be in litigation for like 5 or 10 years.
Right, yeah. And a lot of these guys that you see that are moguls in the music industry, they are straight up
gangsters
and flamers. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
And they don't care. It's about power.
Right. Yeah.
And they'll get these metrosexual looking males and have them do all sorts of stuff I just can't mention. You know? And again, what's the price for fame? It goes back to this idea of selling your soul to the devil, which is a misnomer, because you can't really sell your soul to the devil if you already lost and headed to hell anyway. So the devil puts up this thing in front of you that sell your soul to me, God is not real, and all this stuff. And, these people fall for it. But some of them, going back to the original topic, the cult in the culture, in the music industry, a lot of these people already worship demons. Okay, I'll shoot out a name for you: Azalea Banks. She practices brujeria, right? And she showed on YouTube
her closet, right?
Yeah. We didn't even touch Lady Gaga, man. That's one of the names we're supposed to touch tonight. Lady Gaga. It's obvious what she is. And she's pals with Abramovich, right?
Say that one more time.
She's pals with Abramovich, right?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like a mentor to her. And she's straight up Satanist.
Straight up. All the imagery, all the stuff is all occult.
We touched on Beyonce, who talks about a Sasha Fierce, but she doesn't use that anymore. I don't think. but it's a spirit that comes into her. That's her words. It comes into me. Okay. So you have that. You have what's the one? The young lady that got famous about 8 years ago. I think she's from Jersey. Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj, right?
Nicki Minaj. She, her spirit is called Roman. So we have Sasha Fierce. We have Roman. We have Rain Man.
Rain Man, right?
Right. So who else? I'm not sure about the one that can't speak English. I'm being facetious. Cardi B.
Cardi B, right? Yeah.
But her whole industry there, where she came from, the strippers and all this stuff and robbing people, that whole thing is satanic anyway. It might not seem so in other people's eyes, but Satan has been using women to dance and sell their bodies for a long time. So I'm not sure about her and her spirituality. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something weird there. You have A$AP Rocky. He shows the pentagram in his music videos, and you have some are more blatant than others. And I don't really follow a lot of these guys. You have new ones out now that I couldn't tell you their name if I tried. So this whole system, guys, this is what this series is about. The spirit behind the music. And we're going to go into Egyptology, more on Crowley. Somebody said me and you should do the series every week.
Yeah, we should. Just to follow up, one thing we didn't mention is this guy, Peter Christopherson, that's from my first documentary about Smiley Face Killers. But he was a flat-out Crowley lover, a member of the Illuminates of Thanateros, and he was directing videos for just huge artists. Rage Against the Machine, Robert Plant, some very underground artists, but like Hanson, some funky things. But this is a hard, like literal black magician, like somebody who that was their religion, and a homosexual too, and all kinds of like coprophilia, like things you just like. But who knows what kind of deals and what relationships he had, and he did that stuff on 9 Inch Nails too. But how that negotiation, like I want that guy as my director, I want that guy as my film director. Do you know what he's doing? Like, I mean, it's just incredible. So you talk about another element of occultism, maybe not even the musician, but the people who are directing some of those videos.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. You know what? Yeah, we need to come back and do this stuff because that's another thing that people don't realize. The music videos, it's not always the artist that requests the setting or the make or the one eye over. Don't take a screenshot and say I'm Illuminati now. Or hand over the eye and all that stuff. Right. Sometimes it's the artist behind the video. Right. So we're kind of like not looking at it clearly. Okay. Just like the fashion designer that he or she designed Beyonce's Super Bowl clothing and our outfit, and it was a pentagram there on her chest. The one where she kind of morphed into like this demon-looking dude, right? If you didn't see that, go look at what was that? 2014 Super Bowl? I think 2014. Yeah. So go look that up and you'll see. In fact, what's it called? There's a ministry that did a real good video on it. I don't necessarily hold to everything they believe, but that video is pretty good. Goodfight.org. They have a YouTube channel. Go look up their Beyonce video on the Super Bowl, and I think you'll be blown away. So anyway, yes, there's a lot of topics to cover.
All right, here's another one we forgot is Jimmy Page and the mega occult ritual at the Olympics in China. That was incredible. Singing a whole lot of love with that other musician, female. I can't remember her name, but yeah, no, it was incredible. Like in front of 1 billion people are watching, right?
Yeah.
It's a true mega ritual. It's a true, like, incredible Crowley follower, mega ritual, televised more people than the Super Bowl, probably,
Yeah. I mean, people don't realize the Super Bowl halftime show is now a ritual.
Right.
It's not the same as it was back in the 80s and 90s. It's totally different now. They toned it down a little bit this last Super Bowl, but it still had problems. I'm going to show.
They're pushing the envelope as much as possible, the occultists. So,
especially when they're hemorrhaging audiences.
Right. And so then if you want to push the show, we should probably promote the show we're going to do the 16th, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I can do it. So me and Chris are going to talk about The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab. We're going to read the book. And that's also kind of like the push forward, because Klaus Schwab is a believer in the fourth economic revolution, which is about transhumanism. It's about kind of the transformation of mankind. So if anybody's interested in prepping or reading that book, it's $5 on Kindle. Then you could offer your comments or insights when we have that conversation on the 16th of December.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually bring up the book in a second to show them, but I want to mention next week's show and show you guys the graphics for it right here. Spirit Behind the Music, episode 2. It's hip hop. I'm gonna break down some things about the culture and what you thought you knew, but you don't know, right? And so that's that show. And let me look up the Klaus Schwab before we sign off here.
Okay.
Because I can guarantee some people like, who?
Right. Well, some people, but it's very important because they're talking about the Great Reset at the very top. He started the World Economic Forum, so he associates with a lot of bigwigs, and I think it's important to see, because there could be something like a reset in the future, and what that entails could have a disastrous, far-ranging effects on human beings now as we kind of slouch towards Bethlehem or the New World Order, whatever you want.
Yeah. What do you call it? Human 2.0. I've been bringing this up for a while. I'm looking for the book really quick here. I have it on my computer. Schwab. In fact, I might have 2 versions of it or more.
SCHWAB.
Yeah. I got it here. This thing would actually work here. Come on now. Anyway, I'm going to copy this and there we are. Klaus Schwab. This is the. Oh, give me a second here. I'm going to show you guys what he looks like. When it comes to this New World Order stuff, this guy's the man. Global Reset, Fourth Industrial Revolution, and all that. That's him right there. Klaus Schwab, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. What he's talking about there is technocracy, tech ruling everything, them owning everything. It's the oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, it's something else. Like, and there's no Christian doctrine in that book. It's all about humanism. You're right, technocracy, transhumanism. People tied into the system. It's kind of like the beast system prophesied in Revelation, and this is somebody who kind of wants. It seems like he's selling it with the kind of sugar coating, like it's all for your benefit. I think that's why it's important to actually read the details. I have not read the book in its entirety, but I think it's important for everybody to know, Christians particularly, to see what he's thinking. Also, that's his earlier book, is the Fourth Industrial Revolution, but that book informs the Great Reset.
Right. You must look at the Great Reset. I've been telling you guys this for weeks, though, on Reign of the Tech. Look up the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Look up the Great Reset. Also look into Lockstep. If you haven't done that homework yet, you need to do the homework. Okay? It's one of the only ways you're going to understand what's going on in the world right now. And if you haven't got a lot of insight on the mystery schools, or what we would say the occult, secret societies, you want to do at least some homework on that, because that's the other way you're going to understand what's going on in the world. You can't understand it any other way. Okay? So with that, we are going to close out. Thanks for joining us. This was a very long show, but I think we did a really good job in trying to give you some details, who to look up, who to look into. If we were to give you all the information, this would be a 10-hour show. So I just want to thank you guys in the chat for giving your comments and also participating. And give the video a thumbs up and a like. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We got a ton of stuff coming in the next 2 weeks. And like he said, I'll be on his channel on the 16th?
16th, 5 p.m. Pacific.
All right, so that's William Ramsey Investigates. Go over there, subscribe. It's going to be a good show. We're going to pull out some stuff that you probably don't even realize going on with these guys, man. So
yeah,
very important, very important. All right. So again, if you're a Christian, please spread the good news about Jesus Christ, also known as the gospel, and don't let them burn.
Amen.